Hey Pokemon fans, and welcome to today's Pokemon Fact of the Day. It's by far the #1 most requested video I've gotten of all time. It's finally here. Please enjoy. Lavender Town. I've been making Pokemon Fact of the Day videos for over a year now, and by far, the #1 thing that people have requested in a video is all things Lavender Town. Personally, it's not a subject I'm crazy about, but you guys are so persistent and so supportive that I definitely owe it to you. Lavender Town, in the original Pokemon games, is far creepier and darker than anything else found in the game. While the entirety of Pokemon is all about colorful battles where the loser's Pokemon faint, Lavender Town is all about death, possession, and mourning. The main plot of the town revolves around the restless soul of a Marowak spirit. The Marowak, which was killed by Team Rocket, haunts Pokemon Tower in anger. The tower itself is full of mourning trainers, each lamenting the passing of their old Pokemon. On its own, Lavender Town is pretty creepy. One person taunts you about a ghostly white hand that they see on your shoulder. All of the spirit channelers in Pokemon Tower are possessed by spirits and are constantly yelling nonsense throughout each battle. One of them, by far the creepiest, even cries out that she needs blood. Lavender Town is by far the darkest portion of any Pokemon game, and its dark tones left a lasting memory for anyone that played the original games. So much so that many users decided to create their own stories and mythos surrounding the origins of Lavender Town itself. I'm gonna get this out of the way right away. I don't believe a single one of these stories, and neither should you. They're all creepypasta, the internet equivalent of campfire stories, and they're meant to scare you for fun. There are in-depth videos disproving every single theory out there to an extent way deeper than I would have, and you can find just a few of them right here. I'll briefly touch on why each story isn't true, but I'm not gonna go all Mythbusters on it. They're all urban legends, and they should be treated as such. Without further ado, let's check out some stories. Lavender Town Syndrome. This is by far the most common of the stories that surround Lavender Town. While the tale varies from source to source, the main concept is this. The original Pokemon Red and Green in Japan had occasional high-frequency beats in their Lavender Town theme, which caused headaches and irritation in children listening to the game with headphones. Again, the symptoms vary from story to story, but every version of the tale lists the symptoms of prolonged exposure to the original Lavender Town theme as vomiting, headaches, and eventually hundreds of child suicides. Like I've said, I'm not going to spend a long time disproving this, but it's clearly nonsense. Aside from the fact that the tonal difference between both songs is extremely mild, even for a child, there's no such thing as high-pitched frequencies causing suicide, and there's zero chance that anyone would have covered an incident like this up, especially considering how seriously the Japanese government cracked down on the show after seizures were caused in Electric Soldier Porygon. This story, which sprouted up 2 years ago in 2010, started the phenomenon of Lavender Town creepypasta, creating a disturbing line of stories for years to come. The Missing Frequencies. This is another story meant to complement and explain the results of Lavender Town Syndrome. The idea surfaced from a YouTube video posted about 2 years ago where the user Intrawl claimed that when you run the original Lavender Town theme into a spectrogram, the resulting image reveals the Pokemon Ghost sprite along with the unknown letters saying, "Leave now." The video description tells a story about how the poster's friend died while playing through his old version, shortly after searching through the game's data on his computer, searching through the game's music files. The user claims that he added some missing frequencies into the Lavender Town theme song that couldn't have been handled by the original Game Boy. But again, this story's garbage. With the right audio tools, it's easy to convert any image into a song's data for music as a spectrogram to hear. Aphex Twin did it back over a decade ago in his song Windlicker. And before you get too freaked out at this image, it's not a ghost, demon, or anything else. The picture is straight from one of his album covers. No, not that one! Well, there's the second time a man with breasts found his way onto my videos. This cover. With the right equipment, you can add anything you want into a song, even a ghost sprite and some unknown letters. White Hand Theory and Buried Alive. These are two very similar theories that popped up around the same time. The first is the story of a sprite originally in the Pokemon games. The sprite, titled Whitehand.gif, was supposed to be coded into the 3rd floor of Lavender Town. It had 2 attacks, Fist and Brutal, and supposedly had adverse effects on whoever saw the white hand. I'm not even going to bother with this one. The Game Boy couldn't read GIF images, and the creation of White Hand is just a fan creation based on that line of dialogue from the game that I talked about earlier. Buried Alive was in theory the original boss to Lavender Town instead of Marowak, who carried 2 white hands, Gengar, and Muck. I'm trapped, and I'm lonely. So very lonely. Won't you join me? Is his supposed dialogue. After defeating Buried Alive, the game would freeze, or under rare circumstances, the character would see Buried Alive say, "Finally, fresh meat," alongside an image of the player's character being eaten. I'm not going to entertain this one, but just imagine the conversation that went on between Pokemon's game designers. "Hey Satoshi, how's Pokemon development going?" "Oh good, I guess, just one minor problem." "Oh no, what's wrong?" "The game keeps freezing after the player beats the living corpse character." You know, Buried Alive. We were able to program an ending where the main character gets eaten alive by him, but the game always freezes no matter what. That doesn't sound good. How about we make the boss a Marowak instead? Yeah. You know what? I think Marowak sounds pretty good. Creepy Black. This story talks about not anything related to Lavender Town specifically, but it's often grouped with the same tales. Once upon a time, a Pokemon fan bought a bootlegged version of Pokemon Red at a flea market. And instead of choosing one of your normal starters, you had the option to choose the Ghost Sprite from Lavender Town before you get the Silph Scope. Your Ghost had a special ability called Curse, which allowed you to remove Pokemon and even trainers from the game entirely. After beating the Elite Four, a very easy task considering your one-hit KO Curse ability, you're met with the graves of every trainer and Pokemon you killed. In Lavender Town, of course. Your trainer falls into a battle with Ghost, who finally uses Curse on you, kills you, and erases your save data. It's a real shame the poster of the story said he lost his cartridge after moving. You get the drift. There's no way this version is real in the way that the story claims it was. It is, however, completely available as a ROM hack at a variety of websites. It looks like real or not, the black version has been so circulated that it inspired people to bring it to life. Creepy, but kind of interesting. And lastly, Gary's Raticate. This is the only major theory from Lavender Town that isn't based on any kinds of false evidence or trickery, and that's why I actually kinda like it. Here's how the story goes. When you talk to Gary, or your rival, in Lavender Town, he questions why you'd even be at Pokemon Tower in the first place if none of your Pokemon were dead. This line of questioning seems to imply that Gary, unlike you, is at the tower to pay respects to a dead Pokemon of his own. Coincidentally, this is also the first battle where Gary no longer uses his Raticate, last seen in a fight with him aboard the SS Anne. Putting 2 and 2 together, many fans like to speculate that it was in fact you who killed Gary's Raticate, because he was unable to find a Pokemon Center aboard the ship. Now, I'm not going to bother trying to prove whether or not this one is true, because it's entirely fan theory. These kinds of stories are the most fun because they're based off the game's real source material, and are left up to the fan community to dispute whether or not they're real. As far as I see it, until Game Freak confirms one way or another that it's true or false, fan theory is fair game for some fun stories. Even though this segment is called Pokemon Fact of the Day, there are plenty of fun theories that I'd love to talk about in the future. Until then, just think. It's entirely possible that in Pokemon Red and Blue, you were the bad guy, killing Gary's Raticate and crushing his dreams. So, like I've said, I don't particularly buy into any of these theories because I know they're all fiction. I'm sure there's one thing we can all agree on. Lavender Town is a pretty spooky place, whether or not it has any additional horror content. Thanks for watching today's Fact of the Day, and as always, if there's a fact or something in the Pokemon realm that you'd like to hear more about, leave your comment in the comment section below, and who knows, it might become the next Pokemon Fact of the Day video. Have a nice week, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace!